The word decent doesn't apply to me.
This man is not a hero, he's a criminal. Shut up!
Well, hello, everybody. It's me, your buddy, Admiral Teague, and soon sci-fi, CSI, Star Trek will come back. But for now, you got me, and I'm talking with my hands because I got the camera on for the moment. Hey, everybody. It's good to see you out there. And I got a funny feeling that there may be too many technical challenges for anyone to bot swarm me today. What do you think? Hello, everybody. How are you? It's good to see you out there. Nobody knows about this. Do me a favor, tweet out that I'm live. I didn't get a chance to use my script yesterday because I had such a good time with that 70s rocker. So what happened? I'm going to take the extra material and I'm passing the savings on to you. That's right, my friends. We have even more Admiral Teague. There is an entire script for yesterday's show that only got as far as item one. Item one being, so they call you that 70s rock fan. That was a great discussion. I had a great time with him. I can't wait for Jamie to get back, as Grok calls him, or Brian, as his actual name is. That 70s rocker was a blast. We had a good time, and it's good to see everybody out there in YouTube land. This one is YouTube exclusive. I did not feed it out onto any of the other services. Who's there? Who's there? Crimon! They're out to get me, Crimon! Resolute Germ, hello, Resolute, are you available? Are you around? I wouldn't mind having you here. Miskatonic Madman, good to see you, my friend. I didn't think to reach out to Germ. You know what? If available, it'd be great to have you here. I'm just proving a point. What happened? The Admiral Teague stealth show is going to go without any problems. Watch this one without any setup time for me or anyone else. I have some interesting news. Gina Carano, fantastic actress. The other day, about a day and a half ago, she won bigly against the Disney in court, okay? It was unbelievable. And the district court, they're the best court, forces Disney to cough up the cash records. This is a total victory for Gina, people. Total victory for Gina. Everybody out there, celebrate with me. Yes, we have seen ourselves through the worst of the woke. And we will have peace. Once more, the Sith will rule the galaxy. And we will have peace. You know what? I am so excited that April 25th, Revenge of the Sith is coming back to theaters. And you know what would be even better is if it was, accompanied with the ability to see the original Star Wars the way it was first released. And news is that there has finally been relenting on this one by George Lucas, who has been shall we say, a silly man. And Germ, you have something now in your mailbox should you decide to beam in. But he's become a bit of a silly man in his old age. And I'm convinced that before I die, we're going to turn on Star Wars. We can see in Order 66 where Darth Maul is going to be running around on his mechanical spider legs, right? And just like in the background during Order 66, right? When we see like Darth Maul, like he's going to have, I'm sorry, like, you know, just imagine how bad this is going to be. And joining me here now on the stage, Resolute Germ, my good friend. Germ, so glad you could make it.
Glad to be here. Didn't expect you to be doing a stream this early.
You don't seem that proximate to the mic. You just getting set up? Is that it? Did I catch you in the middle? Like you're gearing up as we speak, aren't you?
Yeah, I just have to fine tune it.
No problem. You know what happened was I figured, you know, what better way to illustrate the technical constraints of the attacks against me than rather than say anything about them or really get too deeply into them, why don't I show up at a point where the computer I know launching them is heavily in use? Good idea, isn't that? Hello, Lombardi 1969, and hello, John the Beagle Down. It's good to see you. We have an actual viable show for you today, and it's going to run just about 2 hours. Germ, have you heard of an actress? An actress with dark hair by the name of Gina Carano, Italian lady, I guess. Miss Catonic. Hello.
Does sound familiar.
This lady, Gina Carano, pretty lady, very beautiful. She worked for a corporation called Disney Corporation. Have you heard of these people?
Yeah, unfortunately, not very upstanding people.
No. That is now the reputation that is getting thrown at them. Now, of course, this is all, you know, just the opinions of two avatars. I mean, you know, but here we go. This is a picture of maybe we should just move over here. That is on the left, lovely young Gina Carano, and I don't know who the gentleman is. I'm just kidding. The other MMA female fighter is. She looks pretty badass. I would be a little afraid of Gina Carano, to be honest with you. This is a little bit of an older picture, but we're all familiar with good old Cara Dune. And have you heard about this fantastic turn of events, Germ? It's fantastic. And welcome everybody. Guys, it's a surprise show. Tweet out that I'm live. Let people know what's going on. It's your buddy, Admiral Teague. I got yesterday's script. I had a great time with that 70s rocker yesterday. He was great.
Yeah, I saw part of that.
There was no need for any script. All we did was just start talking. It was like being behind the dumpster at high school smoking cigarettes and weed again. So listen to this. Gina Carano is a fantastic actress, and she beat Disney in court. So this is, I mean, I want to say unbelievable because that's the New Yorker in me, but like more like very believable. Like there's no way this wasn't happening in my mind. Like now we are not lawyers. We can look at legal decisions and speculate like anyone else, though. We are just speculating as the laymen we are, aren't we?
Yes. So
precisely.
Do not take any of our opinions overly seriously, and more importantly, do not sue.
Yeah, and if you end up, you know, finding yourself named Gina Carano and you're in the exact same position that Gina Carano herself found herself in, using our Future Vision 2020 hindsight, you know what? We won't be responsible for what happens if you do that. But you know what? The U.S. District Court forced Disney, well, it's going to happen in like 19 more days, to cough up the cash records. It's a total victory for Gina. Isn't that great?
That's great. Good thing Elon's backing her on that.
Honestly, Elon, you know what? We're not on X today, so we can just say, Elon, he's an interesting guy. One day he's putting things into space that we all love. The next day he's putting it into Amber Heard. He's a weirdo. Yeah, he's not exactly without his controversies or his flaws. May not play his video games, but he's interesting. Shaw the Beagle Dad, good to see you. Do you have the norovirus as well? It's ravaging the city. Half my ship has the norovirus, Germ. Good. We'll keep
I
you busy.
disavow that virus. I'm a bacterium.
Okay, yes, that's true. We wish a speedy recovery to the people on the bridge crew who have the norovirus. I, of course, am immune with my genetically engineered Star Trek systems. No, you know what? I hope JT feels better. I think it's spread through contact. I'm not an expert on that one either. Check, you Google that one, be sure. But I don't think I can catch it through the computer.
No, that
I don't
would
know.
be kind of difficult.
I cleaned the microphone off anyway. But you know what? You're here, so let's talk about Gina Carano first, and then we'll do 1923 second. So Disney, total losers, total losers in this situation right now. They must show how much they paid stars like Pedro Pascal. Sad. What happens when they show that this haven for women to work at? What happens when this haven for women is exposed as overpaying men and being more tolerant and actually an old boys club?
Oh, this is going to get very good.
I do not think that there's anybody out there, including me, who believes that Gina Carano has got a chance of losing this one now. I think that before they hand over any payroll, they're going to offer Gina Carano a stunning amount of money. What do you think of that idea?
They already have a couple of times. She said no.
She's already wealthy, isn't she? She was already never going to want for anything when she set out to be a good MMA fighter. It's just she chased a dream. Money didn't make her lazy or anything. She's kind of admirable that way, isn't she?
Yeah, she has her own money, and even if she didn't, she has the richest guy on earth bankrolling the case just to get Disney into Discovery.
An embarrassment of riches to a degree, but we love Gina. And one of the things that really started a lot of people changing, and I know that this rattled around in my mind for months, was when they framed her and none of it was true. How could we then turn around and believe anything was true that they were putting on all the other people in the world? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
how could we
discredit Disney?
The stuff that
they can say the sky is blue. I wouldn't believe them until I went outside.
Gina Carano would have continued to survive for a few more exchanges because they're just going after her a few times a day. In my opinion, she would have survived a few more exchanges if instead of the analogy she used, she had called it more specifically what it really is. But, who could think on their feet this fast to coming after you? And no one knew at that point. This was when there was never a tip of the iceberg. The woke beast came bursting out of the water with all its fangs like some kind of kaiju with Disney. We knew it was kind of lurking around below the surface, but we couldn't confirm it was out there. It was poisoning their movies. Their 3 movies had the woke virus all over it, but we never saw the woke kaiju until it came after Cara Dune. Am I correct?
I think we had some indications of what was happening, but
the water was moving weird out there in the harbor. There was some weird movement in the water in the harbor. We knew that there was something strange going on with the Mandalorian, but aside from the fact that the show was inconsistent and it seemed to be only bad because they were setting up backdoor pilots, which was tolerable. You're like, okay, you're trying to unpopulate a world. It seemed fast and ambitious, but whatever. It seemed to be that they were trying to unpopulate a world. But this lawsuit it's so strong, and it's about unrightful termination, wrongful firing. She's probably going to get millions, folks. I think she's probably going to get millions. And I don't know if she, like Germ was saying, Germ thinks that there's a chance that she stares him down and says, F you. And you know what? There's even a chance that Elon says, I assure you this much money. Just, you know what? Go for broke. We want to win in every way on this one. And this, certainly this was the biggest stupid mistake they ever made because, while you and I, we would stand here and be opposed to anyone who said that Mark Hamill had no right to make an ass of himself saying things, wouldn't we? We would take issue with the person who said he didn't have a right to make an ass of himself. That's America, right?
Yeah, he has a complete right to make a jackass out of himself.
We don't take it. I don't really take a lot of stock in what Mark says anymore. I think he's a good voice actor. I enjoyed him as the Joker. I enjoyed him as Luke Skywalker. I wish he had done more, but I'm beginning to wonder if maybe even in Hollywood he was just so outspoken. It's like, what happens when lunch isn't any good? What's Mark Hamill like? Was he start screaming about Ronald Reagan on the set of Empire Strikes Back to the point where Harrison Ford just walking away shaking his head, right?
Oh, I would hate to imagine that.
I mean, and we're talking at a point of far less division in our nation. Like for Ronald Reagan's elections, all like both of them, the outlook was, I sure hope that my candidate wins, but if the other one wins, well, that's okay too. People weren't that vindictively afraid yet. It wasn't like it is now. So this is like Mark Hamill. I love that meme. Have you not seen the meme where they show all the Star Wars cast, and one of the things they show are the people who've passed on, and they're all shown as Force ghosts, and with Mark Hamill, it's just only the Force ghost is only in his brain.
I haven't seen that one.
I'm not wearing my Yankee colors. It's true. Am I wearing my Yankee hat? I'm wearing my Yankee hat in real life, but I'm using my Mets avatar for my stream. You know what? No big deal. It's for fun. It's out of nowhere, and I'm just gonna hang out with Germ, and we're going to talk about this stuff that I didn't get through yesterday because 70s Rocker was a great interview and a great conversation, and then we had fun. Versus someone whose computer's a little tied up right now. So Disney, total losers, must show how they paid like Pedro Pascal, and she's probably going to get millions. Courts seems to be saying that Disney's got to spill the beans in 20 days, and you know what? Mickey can't hide no more. So Gina's team, they are the best lawyers. Like you said, they come from Elon. They're the best, probably the best lawyers. I don't know if there's been a finer team assembled since OJ says this proves she could have been a megastar. And I find that hard to argue, Germs. I think that if they had leaned into Cara Dune, cleaned up that character, given it like another polish, as they used to say when they would write scripts instead of show run things, I feel like Gina Carano could have been at the centerpiece of a really good Star Wars movie. What do you think?
Judging by what I can't recall his name at the moment. The show
Jon Favreau?
Favreau. Judging by what he said about his plans for her in the Star Wars Disney Plus universe he was trying to create,
she was going to be not quite Leia, but maybe like Lando. Yeah, at least as prominent as Lando.
Yeah, she would have been in that top 10 tier characters for the franchise because he had
a difference maker, a shot caller. Her character would have made a difference in situations and would have called shots. Now, listen, guys, welcome to Teags Anglo Angle, as we call it when we give film reviews, right? It's because it's like, whatever. But with Pedro Pascal, I don't know. Am I supposed to? Do you think that there are people out there who are just going to support him blindly because he's Latino?
I have no idea why anyone supports him. He was
people supported Rachel Ziegler. People supported Rachel Ziegler and called her beautiful. Remember that conversation we had about another prominent YouTuber who has a slant to things?
Well, if she shaves and does something about those teeth,
shaves her back.
She's not bad looking. As I said, shave a little bit don't work.
I think maybe they need to wax her back, and quite honestly, I would like to see something where she was able to maybe like be in like clothes that were picked for her. Because every time I see her, no offense, like a lot of chicks dress like this. It's a cute look, but she's dressed like a dude. She's wearing like fucking like Air Jordans, jeans, and like a t-shirt and like a fighter pilot jacket. You know what I mean? Like not working the most. Hell, Buddy Hepburn. Welcome to the show, hey, guys. Lombardi 1969, Miss Catonic, Crimon. Can you guys do me a favor? Can you tweet out that the Admiral is live? At 5 people is great, though. We're proving a little point. We'll be on here for a little while, and you know what? So we're calling out right now for the moment in the middle of our little Gina Carano celebration. We're taking a little right turn, shall we say, into Teague's Anglo Angle, where I look at things as a Latino. You know what? You and I have been friends for a couple years now. You can vouch for this. Am I not, shall we say, of a wet foot, dry foot sort of persuasion?
Yeah, you're a bit mixed in there of several different things. That's
all bad, all good and bad, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. However you cut them, mix them together, it adds up to asshole. But that's not the point. The point is that one thing we have talked about at length is that I'm just about as Latino within striking distance of Miss Ziegler, who's also, she's Eastern European, whereas I am more Western European. But the thing is, Martin Sheen, Cameron Diaz, and I are just about as Latino as Miss Ziegler. So I don't understand anything that she says when she says that. And tell me if I sound like I'm tripping here. She's from New Jersey, okay? Can I speak as a Latino from the tri-state area with as much authenticity as her, or what?
Probably more. She's 23 and she's stupid.
That's right. I've lived about 2 of her lives.
23 automatically means stupid. So
does she have the came easy syndrome? Does she just have the came easy syndrome? And she's just fucking up her life right now by being so unpleasant. Is that what it is? It came easy syndrome.
Yeah, that's probably a good bet.
Hi, Mark. You know what the sad thing is like, how do you come back from it came easy syndrome? It's like down the line, people are gonna be like, that's that chick who had it all and acted like a bitch. And it's just too bad because maybe she does have talent, but like one thing I found hard to believe, and you and I have conferred on this one, and like Sean confirmed that this movie was communistic out of the gate. Out of the gate, this movie made you long for Kristen Stewart. So I call on Paulie the Latino slant to justify how you ever thought this was a 6 when it starts with a heavy dose of communism. Am I just so Cubano that it's the anti-communistic feelings in me and endemic in that sort of Latino culture? Like, we are known as blindly anti-communistic, aren't we?
Well, the Cubans
genuinely in America, in the United States, in Cuba, they're very, very favorable to communism. Those Cubans.
Well, they better,
or at least they won't. Yeah,
come around.
Point taken. Exactly. That's how I meant it. Yeah. The people in Cuba 100% will vote that it's great. That the government will certify it. But, as far as I'm going to speak now as a light-skinned Latino man from New York City. And I'm going to say, bitch, please. You're not as light as Cameron Diaz. You're not as light as Charlie Sheen. You're saying all these things and parsing people according to complexion in a way that's deeply unseemly. And, you're not bringing anything but more division onto people. And these little childish meltdowns, Germ, if I had her under contract for a role on Broadway, and she had an anti-governmental or anti-political or political meltdown in the break room at work between takes at rehearsal, I would use that to fire her and take my and get all my money back because it's illegal to turn on a camera in the break room. Like, if you can't be trusted to like follow the sign on the wall in the break room, you know what I mean? It's like the boss can't put a camera on in there. You can't record in the break room. It's sacrosanct. I don't know about anywhere else, but she did this in New York, so I know that that's true here. By the way, not a cool thing to do. Could you imagine if you could have a camera and a microphone in the break room? Hey, Snorty, good to see you, my man. It's good to see everybody. We got a great crowd going here.
Hey, Snorty.
All the best people. All the best people. So at any rate, I would use that to sort of terminate her contract, because I would find that bad faith, and also I'd find it puts me at liability for my other employees. Now there's no expectation of privacy in my break room, and I've got to like hire a lawyer to write a letter to give to everybody about how they can still feel okay in the break room unless she's having a bad day. Goodbye. I would
take any excuse to get rid of her at this point.
I want to know Paulie the Latino slant. I want to know Paulie seriously. I don't unendorse your show, and I'm not saying you're a bad guy. This is a good faith question. Honestly, I'm not calling out your show at all, but I am questioning you as a movie critic. This is how come. You said that it was a 6 out of a 10, and you didn't stick by that. And then you were a little bit defensive about it in your chat. No offense. But I'm still going to say, I would ask you how, in good faith, you could give that movie a 6 out of 10. And since you did come to your senses and give it a 4, unless you're delusional later and had your senses first, I'm going to assume, I'm going to speak on your behalf and say you came to your senses and gave it a 4. Please tell us what changed your mind. Because the song about communism is like really, really heavy and upfront. It's called Good Things Grow. Go take a look at it. And there's more commie songs after that. And Sean was unhesitant about this too. You want to watch the movie and test me on this one? Look at the lyrics for Good Things Grow. Listen to the song. The song like almost makes it. It's like kind of almost there, but it's like it's her. It's like it's her. The part about her being wrapped through it that hurts it. So like the reprise is terrible, but when you hear it the first time, the song makes it because she's not singing. She's a child actor at the first time you hear it. So you're like, maybe this movie's not quite as bad as I thought. And then all of a sudden you realize that the rich people give things to poor people is like written into and shown to you in the first 25 minutes of the movie. 2.5 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, I've seen her in 2 things. This and that the Spielberg remake of what was it?
West Side Story, which is a reimagining of Romeo and Juliet that was once, but probably is no longer of value. If you're about 80 years old right now, you probably really did enjoy 60 years ago at 21. You probably did enjoy the original West Side Story because it was the music of your time. And I've watched it. It's not terrible. It's just that it's like exists in a madcap world where instead of like pulling out a shiv, you like start dancing. It's a lot like Breakin', if you ever saw Breakin' or Breakin' 2.
I never seen neither of those.
You want to say the subtitle of Breakin' 2. Come on, I left it there for you. You're my friend. Breakin' 2.
I actually never saw it.
Breakin' 2, Electric Boogaloo. Richard Harris on Camelot complained about the script. Warner grabs him, leads him out to the gate, spins him around and says, "See that sign? Says Warner Brothers. When it says Harris Brothers, do it your way." All right, Mark Harkness. Yeah. You know what, man? You used to literally throw actors off the set. Are actors, employees, or independent contractors when hired for a film role? You got a contract, but like you have a contract. So Gina Carano, they fired her, and I don't think they bought her out. They may have, but from what I understand, the Carano firing was a morals clause firing, which would make her sort of like in the category. Unfortunately, I guess the only person coming to mind is Pete Rose. Germ.
Yeah, they did use the morals clause, so they're able to terminate her with cause, at least in their opinion. The court will decide that if they were actually with cause on that. But it was sort of shady.
I can imagine. I think what happened was this. She was going to be antagonized, and it was probably going to be layered on to everyone except Pedro, if it was done by political stripe. And everybody jumped out by political stripe except Gina Carano, which made people say conspicuously to her, "Whoa, wait, why aren't you telling us?" To which she was like, "Ain't nobody's business." And if she wasn't a Republican before, she sure is now, it seems like.
Yeah, it's funny to think that the entire time Pedro was in the bag and he didn't really know what he was saying or care what he was saying.
That is allegedly, but yeah, we've heard that. I love it here. You know what? Allegedly, yeah. Also, Pedro Pascal, like we don't see him. He's not the great like physical actor that does the Mandalorian. That's like John Wayne's grandson.
Yeah, Pedro could do that role from his couch.
He's black, by the way. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
I didn't know that either. I'm just guessing, but like, there's a 20% chance I'm right based on American demographics, right?
About that, yeah.
Yeah, so I could be. I don't know. You know, like hey, you guys should you should be ashamed of yourselves. But hey, it's great to see everybody in this impromptu stream. It's funny. Things are going so smooth. It's like
Yeah.
almost like there's so much computer power tied up that things can't go anything but great, huh? So Gina Carano, let's finish the script here. Whoa, you know what? She's got the smartest lawyers, and they say this proves she could have been a megastar. Let's consider that part of it for a moment. A Gina Carano Star Wars led movie is now the only movie people would see, which is ironic. A Gina Carano Star Wars movie that featured Gina Carano instead of starring her would have been successful. Now, the only successful movie is going to be Gina Carano in a Star Wars movie, and it better be darn good. To which this is another one that Paulie got a little short with me. I'd like him to explain how he doesn't think this is true. Jon Favreau's name's on 30 bad stories in a fucking row.
Yeah, but
I know there's cope for all of them.
Working for.
I know there's cope for all of them, but is my statement not itself 100% true? Where's the exception? Where's the break in the 30 stories in a row?
I would put an asterisk on this because
you can put an asterisk, but you can't call me out as wrong.
You gotta consider who he's writing for. He can write perfect gold, and they say, no, we want it this way, this way, this way, and all he can do is say fine.
Or he could also write that terrible Iron Man movie he wrote. He's remember.
Let's be honest, all three of those Iron Man movies were terrible.
You know, a lot of rumors going around, and I don't know what else to say except rumors, but one of them is that the Iron Man movie was kind of unwatchable until they gave it to Robert Downey Jr. for like 10 scenes cut into the original movie to add humor and fun.
I don't know. Personally, even back then, I had trouble watching the Iron Man movies because, let's face it, not great. You're impressed by the actual suit and the action and stuff, but everything else, kind of weak.
The Iron Man movie was sold by a very charismatic performance by Robert Downey Jr. as Robert Downey Jr. He did a great job as Robert Downey Jr., and they allowed Iron Man's personality to be like that. But the thing was, thankfully, it wasn't a Fantastic Four movie because he couldn't have saved that movie as Reed Richards by being Robert Downey Jr. at all. And, you know, I would argue the only role he was ready to play right off the bat, right out of nowhere, is Robert Downey Jr.
Well, yeah, Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr., they're the exact same guy, minus
now
about $200 billion.
They were close already, yeah. And Robert Downey Jr. was born kind of well off and always had some cash and had the New York accent naturally, I believe, right? His parents were either bi-coastal or New York. His father made movies. They say he got his hand. Was it him who said he got his hands on LSD by mistake when he was 10? Yeah.
I don't remember.
You know what?
Part.
Krimlon's saying it. But well, you know what? Does Paulie really have a right to shake a finger at anyone who says Jon Favreau has written many bad stories in a row?
I give up on all that part. If you're writing for Disney, no matter how good you are, it's coming out bad.
Okay, so in context of this was going to be a Disney movie written by Jon Favreau, and he thought that there was all signs pointed to it being good, and he scoffed at the idea that Jon Favreau's name's on 30 bad stories in a row rather than giving his reasons why he thought he would overcome it. I think that's fairly weak.
Yeah. It's sort of weak. Yeah, it's sort of weak, but I always give it the response that what company name is on all those stories?
That's why the context is, you know what? It's not like he's written 30 random stories that are all terrible. He's written 30 straight Disney stories that are terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Disney
okay, and this is going to be another Disney story. When was the last good Disney story? Jungle fucking Book, which was written by somebody else and had jokes added by Jon Favreau? who probably called one of his friends to write them.
This is actually the only live action remake that they didn't completely screw up.
He did a good job on that, and that's why Disney let him do a few things until the Panderstone got him. I didn't realize there was a second Panderstone thing called Joining the Panderverse. Did you hear about this one?
No, I didn't.
The Panderstone turns them all into woke chicks. And woke chick Cartman and regular Cartman switch universes, and they have to like work against each other while working like they would if they were Cartman, because they're both still Cartman. And they actually did a funnier take and a better take on the whole multiverse thing than we've seen from Disney. It was pretty.
That's a lot of Cartman. And hi, this is Dan. Welcome to the show. Yeah, Grimlon, I haven't seen South Park in quite a while. I hope you're not talking, T, because I can't hear you. Yeah, sorry about that. Can you hear me now? Okay, T is having a little bit of trouble, so I'll just go through the chats. This Dan, yeah, put a chick in it, make it gay. That's the first time for me South Park has been relevant in maybe 15 years. I gave up at the first movie, personally. Yeah, Mark Yellow alert, technical difficulties. I found the Iron Man to be okay to low tier. Yeah, I agree, Fifth Dan. Good on a good day. On a regular day, it's an okay movie. Most of, let's just say, since 08, when it came out in 08, I've probably seen all three of them combined a grand total of 5 times. So that's the rewatchability you got for them. At the time, it looked.
Hey, yesterday's forced update. Really, every time there's a forced update, this happens. Thank God you were here, huh? Thank you for filling time. What did I miss on my own show?
Just going through chats.
Hey guys, thanks for being so patient. You guys the best. I want to thank the community for being so supportive during what was the revolting sort of attack. We've had to put up with a lot of BS here. Maybe it's time I should try to finish the Gina Carano story, and then we'll have like a little Festivus moment. At any rate, the last thing I had here on Gina Carano is that the Hollywood big shots are shaking because Gina's fighting back and making them accountable, which is tremendous. I have a feeling that what will they do? Will they try to approach her and say, like, look, we'll give you like $30 million, make a movie? Give you $130 million, make a movie? I mean,
I don't think she'd go for it.
I don't know. You see, what if they were like, you can have your guy be in control. John Favreau will be the man on this movie. We'll make you like, kind of like the Mandalorian centerpiece here. You can kill Katie Sackhoff and make Pedro the Mandalorian again, and we'll have all the female power we need. And then that'll be just great. And we'll see what happens from there. Hey, Stark of Iron, what's going on?
Hey, Stark. The problem I always see with that is Pedro.
Right.
Pedro caused all the problems to Mandalorian to begin with, saying he wanted more FaceTime and he wanted to quit. That's the reason they even hired Katie Sackhoff in the first place. Because he was being so combative.
He was being a bit combative, was he not? Let's see here. My membership is paused. Will be restored on 21st. Account low, LOL. Oh, okay. Hey, man. You know what, Stark of Iron? I understand. We all been there. You're forgiven. I hereby forgive you. You also are allowed to use the pass. You want to come on and say hi? I threw Tony one too. We'll be on for a little while longer. Do you look at the subspace I sent you before in the private chat? Could you take a quick look at that?
Let's see. Oh, yeah.
Is that pale pathetic showing scheduled till 5 or 6? My time. Is it scheduled to end in 18 or 78 minutes? Usually 18, or is it usually 78? That's usually 180 minutes, right?
That sounds about right.
All right. Yeah. You know what? We'll just keep me apprised on them. It's great to see everybody. Sith Dan, hello. Hello. Promise me money. Promise me power too. Anything. I want my career back, you son of a bitch. You know what? A properly crafted Star Wars movie could be successful. Here's the double-edged lightsaber of bringing back Gina Carano. One, like, it's like we want her back, and we feel like that would be justice. At the same time, like, does anybody deserve to be the person tasked with saving this disaster of Star Wars? What if the only thing they do right is fix what they did wrong to her? I do say take the money and make them start over with a better Star Wars. This is disgraceful what they did, Germ. I can't believe that they could have and let me ask you a question, Jerm. What do you think has gone on at these Disney movie shoots that when we see the female stars afterwards, they're like devastated and in tears? Why is that always the case? Is Germ your let me check here. Oh, he's a BRB.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to know. I find that out just in time for it not to help me. Perfect for my show. It's my fault. That's on me. Yeah, you're gonna check on that other transmission. And what do you call it? What is it? Gerb is going on at all these Disney movies where they say they're all about the female star and everything like that, and they're against the male gaze. Which I don't know if that's legal to have a hiring practice like that. Is it? You have to hire everybody.
No, I don't
right?
think so.
Yeah. So, like, there's a problem with that. But, like, with this Disney, like, movies, how come every time we see the female stars with Disney movie, they're very angry and emotional or very emotional and sad? They're never like, hey, it was great. The only person I saw say, hey, it was great and shake off some criticism was Halle Bailey from Little Mermaid, where while no one like really had a lot to say about the movie, and there is some criticisms where people were, making fun of her appearance a little bit, I would want to say that because she rolled with it, was a good sport and did not get into repeating their message at us. She never wagged a finger much. In a confused moment, she stuck her finger out, but she pulled it back before she wagged, in my opinion, on Halle Bailey. So I just like, without going after her too much, we've seen that you can survive and have your Disney movie do less terrible than it should have done if you don't act like Rachel Ziegler, haven't we?
Yeah, it does help if the main actress doesn't act like such a stuck-up little such and such.
Entitled jackass, yeah. And you know what? Here's what I'll say too. Paulie, if she was so good, I want you to counter this inquiry. Supposing the movie had been made with Selena Gomez, she can sing, she can dance a little bit, established. I realize that she's 30, but like, is that really just way too old? She's a crone now, right? Is that what we're saying? It had to be somebody who was like 20 and an idiot. Selena Gomez, what was the project that she destroyed again?
I don't remember offhand.
Has never happened in 30 years, something like 25 years in the biz. She starts out with Barney and has a track record where, like, her most interesting or questionable thing was that she had feelings for jerky Justin Bieber, which some of it, like, people didn't like it because, like, let's face it, she's beautiful. We're a little jealous, right? But the second thing was, like, I don't think too many people like Bieber either. Like, he's kind of an insufferable jerk himself. So it was
He's a bit of a weirdo.
Column A. Yeah, one from column A, one from column B on the whole thing with Justin Bieber. And like, you don't have to like President Clinton to have been befuddled by that weird thing where he threw the picture of him into like a wall and then peed in the corner and just like seemed to be just out of it on drugs or something.
Oh yeah, he admitted that there was a good 5 to 10 years there that he was completely messed up, and according to him, he's actually gotten cleaned up, and well, he hasn't been racing cars through the streets lately.
Maybe, the addiction to speed is all that's left, but that was really bad for Paul Walker. So, good luck to him. No one wishes anything bad on him. It's just that he had a colorful period there where he was acting in a way that was mostly deemed to be Shia LaBeouf-ish.
No, he wasn't as bad as Shia LaBeouf.
I think he was on the same level. People were always wary that he would show up maybe a little too wasted, for both of them. Shia LaBeouf turned out to have an actionable excuse for a good deal of it, where he actually had been in a car accident and lost like the use of most of his hand and had to have the hand sort of replaced from the inside out so that he could have a hand to gesture with while he acted, but he can't so much use one hand anymore. And the thing is, it was a drunk driving incident, but his claim, and I'm not a lawyer, but his claim was that he, he got broadsided with his arm out the window, which things seem to support, and that he wasn't the one who was drunk. He was just driving. Isn't that unfortunate? He'd gotten in trouble a couple times just for being a little lit. But hey, look, beaming up to be with us, it's Wes Cagle. Hey, man, what's up?
Hey, how's it going? I was in the middle of a whole bunch of stuff today and happened to just check over on Twitter. I'm like, oh crap, he's on. Hey, send me. Let me get on. Let me get on here while I got some time.
Yeah, I thought it would be fun to see what would happen if I went on and just out of nowhere. And what it looks like is my signal strength and my appeal here at this time is really good. And it looks like, honestly, doing better than any other just show up time slot in a while. And maybe what we're seeing here is it needs to happen more. But the other thing we're seeing is when people aren't quite prepared for it, there is no attack on the stream. Or if the computer that I suspect is part of it is doing something, there's no attack on the stream. It's funny, isn't there?
Yeah.
Isn't that? It's funny how that works. Yeah. So you know what? I call bullshit on that one. But anyway, we were talking about the Gina Carano situation. What do you think of like the current state of affairs with that, where Disney has 20 days to produce the information on payroll so that they can compare, how other people are getting paid, and their contention that she would have been a huge star. The first thing I think we'll say is no one doubts that she could have had a very successul movie. People might not have liked it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, definitely. She would have. There is no doubt in most people's minds that Disney did her dirty for certain. So,
well, there was doubt for a few days in a lot of reasonable and normal people's minds, and a lot of normies don't know the truth yet. But then most reasonable and normal people who remained curious found out the truth.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Because remember, what they did was they threw out the most disgusting stink bomb they could. Don't say what it was.
No.
And I have maintained that if she had called it McCarthyism, and turned the phrase just a little better, she probably would have survived to trade more insults. But they were gunning for her. They were gunning for her. Let's face it. They were gunning for her badly.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The funniest thing. Well, I wouldn't call it funny, but the most bizarre thing is Disney was it was in the midst of the entire whole pushing women thing for everything, and we strong women roles and strong women this and strong women that, and out of nowhere they just kneecap a strong female actor, an outspoken one. So you they want outspoken
She
strong
wasn't
women, unless it's the
outspoken
wrong
until
opinions.
she wasn't outspoken until people started beating on her. What she was is she stood her ground. She understood that she didn't have a popular viewpoint, and I think there's a case to be made that she showed discretion by not being that. If she really is of the political stripe that she seems to be now, and she's allowed to be, and good for her if she is. But if she did believe these things, it was relatively quietly. She knew where she worked, and she didn't want to make waves, which is called being polite, by the way. Let's not put her down. She didn't go to work until people start thinking like me either. It's when she was forced to a point where people had a doubt. There was no certainty yet, just a doubt. And she didn't take the chance to charge out there and lecture everybody. When she just showed some respect for the fans, they went after her. That was good enough. And they made it stick. It's sick.
Yeah.
It's sick and crazy.
Well, I also thought it was odd that even though once we realized that Disney had done her wrong, and even public opinion has started swinging towards her direction, nothing moved until, if I'm not mistaken, Elon started voicing things and said, because he publicly said that anybody who feels that they've been wrongly terminated by DEI and all this stuff.
You've been treated unfairly.
Yes. And once he started saying that and decided he was going to start backing these people, all of a sudden things started moving, slowly but surely. And now it's coming to a crescendo, it seems. So
how are you not cognizant that Mark Hamill is out of his tree? Out there, we all Wes Cagle. I have seen some things you've tweeted. You've got a point of view. You've seen some things I've tweeted. I've got a point of view. I've seen Germ, you've got an FBI profile. You know what? But we have points of view. But doesn't everyone? And Germ said it before. You take the Saving Star Trek pledge, right? Everyone's entitled to their point of view, and they should be heard. That gets you in trouble. It's a world of consequences, but everyone's entitled to their point of view. Freedom of speech is good, right? I mean, I believe in the First Amendment as well. The First Amendment for a reason. So Mark Hamill's got a right to say what he wants, but if I'm going to run a workplace and I'm going to let Mark Hamill not just speak, but I'm going to call it proselytizing. Anybody want to disagree with that? He was proselytizing his point of view and being a bit intolerant. Anyone?
No, yeah, you're not wrong.
He's kind of putting it nicely.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, how do you hide $100 from a Canadian transformer?
I'm not touching that one.
You put it under his work boots.
Yes. Oh, so anyway, I realize that Selena seems a lot older than she is. I'm sorry, guys. Excuse me. Hold on. With Selena, it's two things. One, she's been famous since she was 6 or 7. She was Barney's human playmate. So we remember her as far back as 1994. So 30 years of fame. But isn't she only 31 or something?
I don't know.
Can someone take a quick look at how old Selena Gomez is?
Yeah, she's been doing stuff since my kids were little.
Really young.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing. Selena Gomez is also a little bit sick. I don't think it's bad, but she has a chronic illness.
Does she?
Yeah, I believe
She's 32, it says. Yeah, 32, born in 92.
some of it might be symptomatic of the other problem. The root problem is that there's something uh physically chronically wrong with her that's like a real like a real medical condition like autonomic. Hello, Sean Carter. Thank you so much. I'm here to zap butts and chew bubble gum, and I'm all out of bubble gum. I have a funny feeling that if we keep to the schedule that I planned on, I don't think there'll be any bots at all. I think that someone's at their technical and mental limit. And I don't think they're aware either. So I think that right now we've got a great turnout here with 13 people. Turning up 13 people out of absolute nowhere is pretty good. Imagine if I could do my weekly streams without being bot swarmed every week. Imagine the analytic I would build, guys.
Yeah. Nice.
And we have thrown out every crazy person who's acted like a douchebag to the rest of you. You have been respected here. You have been respected here. Where's Putin's cat? No one has to care or worry. Putin's cat said one too many rude things to one too many of you to be here. And Sean Carter deserves to be in a channel that's run like this. It's a little more respectful. Could I have 7, 8 more people right now? The amount of bickering and drama and stuff that you guys have to put up with, I would have to turn off my chat repeat, something I am loath to do. Well, there's a lot of people who only like live streams. And Sean Carter, you have been here since day one. You are a 15-month supporter. And you were one of the people who asked me to go and do the Saturday night show. And you know what? It was life-changing in all the best ways. A lot of people, when we lose a Star Trek creator, a little bit of Star Trek dies right there. And and some people lose their love for Star Trek. I worry, Germ, that our friend Deej may have lost his love for Star Trek when our friend Bird died.
Yeah, it does seem like that.
Really sad about it.
At least he has his farm still.
I'm so glad he has all that. But remember, like, what a brilliant Star Trek mind he was, and how much he brought to the table as a Star Trek, reviewer and a Star Trek, guy. I mean, Star Trek's like baseball. That. There's something we call good Star Trek men. You know what I mean? He was a good Star Trek man. He knew his Star Trek. He could talk Star Trek with Bird of Prey 5.
Yeah. And as someone who watched a lot of Star Trek with Bird, it has been harder to watch without Bird around.
One of the things we're going to do is we're probably not going to watch Catwalk when we get there, because for those of you who don't know, like the first time I ever met Jerem was we both went, and this was in the days before people really subverted the link in the StreamYards. But we went there and we jumped into the StreamYards with Bird of Prey 5, and he introduced us, and then he broke it to everyone that he was feeling kind of bad that day. And he would rather, that we just do the episode of Enterprise. So if we can get permission, and I guess that means I got to try to get through to Mamo Prey. And Mamo Prey, if you're out there, we love you. But we got to try to get through to her. And once we do that, we can probably, I'm hoping, do an upload of Catwalk, where either you and I will host it live, or you and I in the studio will stop it from time to time and talk about, maybe a couple of stories about Bird, and just do that maybe as an upload. Because I don't think that we should do Catwalk with the rest of the people. I have feelings about Catwalk after that experience and our friend. I'm going to call it an A+, and I don't know if it's that good. It's pretty good, I thought, but I don't know if it's an A or an A+. But I'm biased towards it.
That's the Enterprise episode, yes. That's the one where they're going through some kind of a storm in the ship or something, right?
We're not too far away from it, I don't think. I think it's about 6 or 7 more episodes.
It was an interesting episode. I thought it was an interesting episode.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
They have to hide in the nacelles.
Yeah.
So the Hoshi and DePaul and everybody are all looking hot on the catwalk. On the catwalk. They struck their little asses on the catwalk. And it's great. It's great. And we get a little bit like we are coming off like one beautiful girl episode after another beautiful girl episode after another beautiful girl episode, though this season we're up to episode 10 will be the next one, I think. we have so far had Carbon Creek, Singularity, and last week Vanishing Point. They are
So
really
you gonna do
trying
all
to get us to
three?
fall in love with their cast. Well, we've done all three, but I'm just
Oh,
saying there
okay.
were 3 of our first 9 episodes. They're really pushing or really aware that they messed up people's feelings about those pretty girls. They are really aware that they messed up how people feel about their pretty girls. They're pushing a new second look at T'Pol where she's far less uncanny, hard. They're pushing a new, more tailored look to Linda Park where they try to have her not be as frumpy. And now, like this, like newfound confidence. I'm glad it was something they built into the character because it was there already. And now she's just getting more confident. I think that she's being very believable in the growth of Hoshi. She's arcing better than a lot of Star Trek characters, certainly better than we ever saw from, say, Troy. And while both do well, she's tracking a little bit ahead of T'Pol in the arcing. What do you think, Jerm? Arcing of Hoshi.
I think her story does a lot better than most Star Trek female characters, especially TNG, where they're both sort of dead ends. And compared to DePaul, definitely on par. Kind of hard to choose between the two.
Who has more as a female character, Hoshi or Jadzia Dax?
Oh, I'm Team Hoshi all day long, but Jedzia is you know what? I have to since it's a show crossover. I don't have to feel conflicted. But I'm if you're gonna make me choose one over the other, I'm taking Jedzia. I think. Sorry, Hoshi.
Okay.
If it comes to the story, they definitely gave Jadzia a lot more, but DS9 did run almost double the lengths of Enterprise.
Yes, which really helps a lot of people. Here's the question then. How about this for a question? Is not whether or not you like them as much or whether or not you feel that they're that important in the Star Trek pantheon, but did they do equal and as high quality character work when they did it on Hoshi as they did on Miles O'Brien? My opinion is yes, and sometimes better. Because there's a couple of Smiley O'Brien episodes.
No, it's true. Yeah, I think sometimes they didn't delve enough into O'Brien. And then sometimes I'm like, oh look, they're starting. They're coming around. Miles is getting a bigger piece, and then they drop the ball again. So, and I think they did the same thing with Hoshi. So, but it's hard. It's hard when you've got so many characters to focus on any one character for too long, or at least shine a spotlight too long on one of them.
Oh,
yeah,
guys,
they sort of went back to the whole Miles must suffer and Hoshi must panic.
Yeah.
They tried, but they had to go to the default.
What I like is when Hoshi gets over her panicking, she usually overcompensates. If she has to fight, she'll over attack the person. If she has to shoot someone, she'll blast them 8 or 9 times. Like, I've noticed that when Hoshi overcomes her panic, she like really overcomes it. Like, she's like a sociopath. Like, once she reaches that tipping point, she's like, ah! It's like Han Solo chasing the stormtroopers down the Death Star hallway. And then she catches herself and she's like, the Looney Tunes effect where if she looks down, she'll fall. By the way, Germ, how is our shield resonance? Are we still observing the Pac-led ship?
Oh, yeah, still under observation.
They're still on our scopes. Let me know as soon as they go to warp, okay?
All right.
Thank you. If only Hoshi had worn, yes, a slinky cat costume in that episode. Why Hoshi didn't have a cat suit is like, that's a tough one. I guess her origin tale forbids it, but I mean, she should have and could have had one. And they give her just like the most hottest cut off, like, uniform in the mirror universe. I loved how she looked in there. By the way, this is something I want to say on behalf of the community. You guys, you know what? Enough of you were already in part of both channels. And no disrespect, but we passed the size of the first people to do the Star Trek channel size. So congratulations to us. I'm happy. I'm not going to not celebrate my accomplishment, but because there's like a third of the people from the original channel stayed with us, and we picked up maybe a third more, which was really nice because people did want Star Trek. I was asked to do this not for myself, but for in love of Star Trek, the Saturday night thing. For that reason and that reason only, I am going to see the Fantastic Four movie. I feel that you
Heaven
guys
help
deserve
you.
it. I feel that they deserve it. I feel I should give it my proper review treatment like I always do, and that I should do my best possible job. And I should do it, just for our subs. And that'll be fun. And we could do it for everyone who subscribes to the channel to give it some value. And I think it would be, first of all, what's this stuff about a trans thing?
No, get out of here.
That
I
is
guess someone there.
now,
would
when
do
we say
storm,
that
but
that
not-
way, we're
not the
talking
thing.
about the character. The character, the Thing in Fantastic Four, is allegedly going to be. There's rumors here of some either gender moves, and also the actress Victoria Kirby said that they were trying to what do you call it? The actress Victoria Kirby said they were. What is the term I'm looking for? They were going to explore gender politics in it. They're going to explore gender politics in this one. So I think the other thing is funny that her last name is Kirby. Like, Kirby would have been like, why couldn't her name have been Lee? Why couldn't her last name have been Lee? So I just want to say, when I see the Thing, I noticed that it looks like a pile of chicken nuggets. And when its mouth moves, it's either on and off. It doesn't seem to open and close. Am I the only one who has noticed this curious turn of events?
I haven't seen a
Well-
lot of footage, so couldn't say.
When you see it, it's like, to me, it was like that. Germ, did you see anything?
No, I really haven't been paying attention to it, but I will give them one thing: the idea of them running down Pedro Pascal on screen does have a certain appeal.
Even though you shouldn't
That's
do
the
that
gender
to
politics.
Reed
Yeah.
Richards.
You shouldn't do it to Reed Richards, but Pedro Pascal definitely.
I don't know if you should. I think he enjoys it. I think he's out there looking for it, and I don't believe he's really dating Dakota Johnson at all. Dakota, you want a real night out? Come on by. Come on. You know what? In the words of Mr. T, from the immortal classic William Shakespeare's Rocky Doth the Third. What's the matter? Don't you want to be with a real man? In the words of Sir Clubber of Lang. Do you remember that great Shakespeare play, guys?
Oh yeah, one of the top.
Yeah, it's up there with Macbeth, Rocky Doth the Third. I think that Apollo the Creed, he was a great actor in that movie. But you know what? Like Mr. T, like the great Clubber Lang who trained in jail. I would just say, what's the matter, baby? Don't you want to be a real man? And I say that to Rachel Ziegler. West, she's
Sure.
only like a bridge and tunnel ride away. She's only like a bridge and tunnel ride away.
Have you seen all the memes around recently from some of the stills from that movie? Good Lord, her facial expressions. I'm like, what?
There's two different shoots and like maybe like there's like three different shoots and two easily distinct haircuts. Okay, there's two different shoots and two different easily distinct haircuts, and it's just not working. Okay. All right, no problem. I see the subspace from WK, and I hear and acknowledge. Let's see. By the way, is it true? What I just want people to know. Wes Cagle came to me and he said, "I've seen so many commercials for the Minecraft movie that now I hate block people." You is the phobe. I stole that joke from my friend the Gourd King. Isn't that hilarious?
That's funny. That's funny.
Go
Yeah.
Gourd King. I love the Gourd King. I block people.
Well, they can add another istophobe tag. You know, I mean, I don't know how many they label on me all the time anyway. So it's fine. It's fine. It's
The
all
worst thing they say about you is you're friends with Admiral Teague.
Hey, that's not the worst thing about that movie. I've seen the footage and I've talked to people who work at these theaters about these freaking the Minecraft movie. These people are acting like freaking animals. They've had to cancel showings to clean up the theater.
Well, people just don't know how to act anymore.
Oh God.
People just don't know how to act anymore.
They're doing it for internet clout. They're all filming it and putting it on TikTok.
I believe that. And being a dick at the movie theater, it's like, if you get hot cheese on me, I just feel like my channel community has saved me from that. I'll never be at a movie filled with people anymore because you guys only want me to go to horrible movies. The next one, like, I'll see Fantastic Four on me, guys, but we got to talk about Thunderbolts, all right? We seriously got to talk about this shit before I subject myself to that. I think I deserve Revenge of the Sith, but if I have to go see Thunderbolts, could you imagine? But here's the thing: if I go to all these MCU movies, I don't have to have Disney Plus or watch the shows, right? True. And then I then have the possibility to just simply live in the cinematic Disney world, say that I don't know the show world. Other people will fill in the show lore, which is nonsense and disposable beta canon in their own real world anyway, to be honest with you. And it would expand my horizons a little bit because I'll be doing some things this year. There are places to go and things to be done this year. Should have become a doctor. He had the hands of a surgeon. And Jadzia is dead for season 7 and nearly dying throughout season 6. My favorite 2 Deep Space Nines that I used to use to confound Bird and Germ, you were there. You were there for this when he would talk about Deep Space Nine and the flowering of Worf's character. And I'd be like, yeah, I especially like the episode where he goes to Risa and becomes a male supremacist who sort of takes place in a retro Federation sort of movement that's a little bit treasonous and tells his wife that she should go like clean up the fucking the dacha, right? Remember that crazy episode?
Hey, Worf was the alpha male. He knew what he wanted and he knew what Jadzia should do. Worf did nothing wrong.
No, I did see. The thing is, I defended it from that perspective as a great episode, and he thought that I was insane. He viewed that as maybe a flawed episode. I also, I told him that the episode that I would use to drive him crazy was, remember how they couldn't really resolve it, and they had to just quietly talk it away in dialogue a year or two later. How teaching the controversy with what's her name? O'Brien's wife. The hell's her name? Why am I blanking on it?
Oh, Keiko.
Keiko working at the Deep Space Nine school, which is not a Federation school, and she's teaching the controversy about the wormhole aliens to the Bajorans who hold it as religious character, and she's teaching the science of it. And like, while to us it seems to make sense that they make a fairly decent Scopes monkey trial analogy out of it, and the episode isn't as bad as it is terrible for the character. She is an intolerant Federation supremacist with absolutely no boundaries on her. Am I right? Like, that's her excuse. It's like, but we're right.
Yeah, she looks kind of bad in that episode. Especially when she has firsthand seen the prophets pimp slap a guy.
Exactly. She's being a little bit of a convenient character. And the problem is with Hoshi, there was no real like lore to stick with her. They used the actress when they could use her. The thing was, she was actually doing very, very well in other acting. I believe she was a soap opera day actress, right? So she's doing that left and right, and she's honoring her obligation to Star Trek when she can. So they're writing her inconsistently. She was always performed well. It was just that, Hoshi Keiko doesn't always make sense. So sometimes she's a pretty supportive wife. A lot of times she's whiny, and then other times she's like super Keiko. And it's just like Miles a lot of times deserves a little better, and a couple of times she's a real bitch. In the one with the wormhole aliens and the school, it's like we, the audience, are supposed to understand it, and we do. But if you want to troll someone, and I love trolling Bird of Prey 5, you say that like she's a Federation supremacist, and there's no arguing it. It's true. And the thing is that like I was like, yeah, they resolved that brilliantly though, didn't they? And it's like because you know that all they did was a few seasons later, they're like, yeah, and since Keiko's no longer teaching at the school because we closed the school because the station's too dangerous, or whatever it is they said about closing the school. And or they transferred everyone down to Beijing or whatever it might be. They could never put Keiko back there because she looked intolerant. And it was a decent Scopes monkey trial analogy episode. Not quite a measure of a man sort of thing, but decent.
Yeah,
But
not bad.
body slams the actress's character.
I think that mid range not New Trek, but mid range Star Trek, because you got the original and then you got mid range and then you got New Trek. Mid range kind of dumped whenever they talked sciencey. They had dumped on religion. They didn't used to be that. It wasn't that way in TOS. They didn't dump on religion. They weren't like
They
pushing religion.
conspicuously omitted it.
Yeah.
They made sure not to talk about it.
Yeah.
Which was a welcome thing because they could have been doing anything they wanted between scenes.
Yeah, very true.
Kind of the beauty of old Star Trek. Go ahead. Sorry.
That is the disadvantage of those guys they had in charge. They felt a certain way about stuff they did, and they weren't really shy about pushing it sometimes.
Right.
I will give credit to whoever was in charge of them. They could put the brakes on them quite well, because looking back at some of the documentaries and some of the behind the scenes stuff, they had some ideas that if they put out there, DS9 would have gotten cut off in season 3 and Voyager would have never happened.
And there was a few moments there that they needed to. It seems to me like as soon as Gene Roddenberry died, there's a couple of years there where the people under him like just kept reshooting his scripts and understood his ideas. Then they wanted to kind of carve their own identity. And while they were deeply respectful to Roddenberry's vision, they were willing to compromise on it here and there. And we got a lot of good Star Trek out of it, but we also got a lot of conflicting messes out of it. And while it's wrong to say that they were bad stewards of Gene's dream, because they produced a lot of legitimate Star Trek still, and some of the best Star Trek is still some of the stuff that we got after we lost Gene. But then slowly, despite being a good hiring master, his people drifted off and there was less and less of them left, and they wanted to experiment more and more. And Voyager just shows the shortcomings of compromise when you have a dramatic ceiling and you're trying to be like the next generation when your cast and your stories just aren't there. And then you have the other part where with Deep Space Nine, they could pull off the drama, but like at what cost? Like sometimes we're just being dramatic at the price of fun for far too long in a row. Or we were convoluted and didn't make sense in the episodes in between the parts where we were really serious.
Yeah, they did have a balance problem sometimes on DS9. They always went for the drama route, the fun route. I think the Q episode they had that didn't go over very well kind of soured them on doing the fun stuff. Yeah, that soured them on writing fun scripts.
Deep Space Nine was... Julian could be fun. Only Julian could be fun.
Yeah, to a lesser extent Odo, but he is more of a quirky fun.
The fun was at his expense at the end of the episodes. Usually it's like, we found out he was full of himself or something, or he learned a lesson or got his comeuppance or gave someone their comeuppance. It was kind of a different kind of fun. With Julian, he just might decide to be a secret agent on the Hollow Suites. And some decent Star Trek was had from that. And I enjoyed Julian Bashir, secret agent, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. It's one of the top episodes. They get all stuck in the holodeck. I'd have to put that top 10, top 15 for the series.
Where would you put it for the whole franchise?
Franchise
100? No.
Top 50?
Really? Germ, do you like that one? Where would you put it for the franchise? Julian Bashir, secret agent man.
I'd have to go the mid to low 40s.
Yeah, Wes is still stepped away. That's right. Duh. Admiral Teague should probably look at his avatar and stuff. How's the subspace readings there? The anomaly are still tracking it? The pack-led ship?
They appear to still be on course.
Their chambers coil is still overloading, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, and we got another super chat from Sean.
Oh my gosh, Sean Carter, my friend, with a super chat of 5 generous American dollars. Woo! 40 quarters, buddy. I'm gonna take these to the Fantastic Four movie. You guys deserve a review from this for this community. There's enough people here. Listen, we got Star Trek people who are just Star Trek and cinematic people and sci-fi people from my side of the channel, which was about the same size as Clobby's when we merged. And we didn't merge so much as we moved to a time slot. People, like, there was no conscription, there was no bonus. And I appreciate everyone who showed faith in me and came to Saturday Night Star Trek, where we celebrated it together and enjoyed it under the new Saving Star Trek formula, where it's been completely different. And it's not too soon anymore. So you know what? We will remember like those who went before us. We're not going to be intimidated by some AI voice anymore. But Sean Carter says Voyager's writing is like Da Vinci students got across to a studio. Some of the stuff they do is okay, but much of it is screwed up. Yeah, and like the paint fumes had been concentrating in there for a while when they got in. It's like they had talent, but something went wrong. Yeah, Voyager. Honestly, what does it say when your best episodes are your bottle episodes? I guess it's a bottle show, just like Deep Space Nine, which is the mistake of both new Star Trek shows, is that there was no real imperative to go to a planet. In fact, with both of them, there was an imperative to stay away.
Yeah, Voyager got kind of focused on pretty much 7 of 9 and Captain Janeway at the end there. Everyone else was just sort of supporting their story. I can understand it with the assets of Jerry Ryan, but they just looked and went kind of gaga and forgot what they were doing.
I disengaged for a long time from Star Trek from that last couple of seasons. It wasn't so good, and I'm like, meh. And then Enterprise won me back because I thought Broken Bow was particularly strong. But hey, Sean Carter says, don't get me started on Take Me Out to the Holodeck. Germ, this is your chance to debate this one. I want to have a baseball game against some Vulcans, okay? We're the Deep Space Niners. Why would we ever play the game on the holodeck instead of the park like Planet Below?
Convenience, I guess. They had to get Quark there for some reason to rent out the holosuite just to get him on screen.
You know what? Bring him down to the planet to run concessions. It's the same, just one transporter sequence. You know what? Hollow emitters. You know, we could think this one through. On the park like Planet Below, we have perfect conditions for baseball. Also, with the Vulcans, Gerb, if we're talking to our coach for this game, if we're talking to Captain Sisko, I don't know what you say, but my first question. You can tell me what yours is. Here's my first question for the coach. You ready? Skipper, what do we do when one of these fucking Vulcans throws the ball 260 miles an hour because they're 5 times stronger than us?
I would be looking for a tritanium bat and a robot.
What about throwing inside? I want a transporter strike zone that beams away the ball if it comes inside. I want a hollow transporter emitter inside the ball that makes it go away if it gets too close to my proximity. Before it can hit me.
Well, there's another reason to have it on the holosuite. You have the safeties on.
But then what we're saying is that the Vulcans have to take performance C enhancers.
Yeah, well, they did lose like 23-0.
Yeah, I forget why, but yeah, the park like Planet Below, I don't know, and I don't know. Now that you've got your Hollow Suite team, Who do you have play at your? Who's your starting 9 on the holodeck for the Niners? Do you want to go Star Trek characters or real baseball players? Up to you.
I wouldn't put real baseball players up against Vulcans. That would be homicide.
So you'd have like Rook from What Are Little Girls Made Of as your designated hitter.
Yeah, I'd put Data and Lore at the battery.
I have Landrew up in the play-by-play booth.
That works.
You are outside. The umpire is not of the body. That run will have to be absorbed. Jeez.
Oh, yeah.
I would have.
Madman's right. It was 10-1.
Yeah, I thought that they did a little better than that. Mark is right. Yeah. Coming inside has consequences, Admiral. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Well, I mean, we all would have to ask our fathers about that one. Oh, Ship in a Bottle was literally a great battle episode. Which one is that? Germ? You on my Deep Space Nine episode? Deep Space Nine.
Ship in a Bottle. It's not coming to me offhand.
TNG. Is it TNG?
I thought it was.
How are the scopes? You're still tracking the Packlids?
Yeah, still tracking.
All right. It's going to be very important to keep checking them over the course of the next 5 minutes. And then, of course, at the top of the hour, we are tracking a Packlid ship with some with some dumb on it. They have a cargo of dumb. It's hard to believe, but they have filled their ship with dumb. Oh, Ship in a Bottle was Moriarty. Yes, I knew it was TNG. And Moriarty is the nanny's mate. Nanny's like boss. How weird is that? And a Star Wars guy.
Yeah.
He might be the only guy who's both. He's one of the people who's both.
Yeah, he's the butler on The Nanny. Poor guy had to go from that to Star Trek. That must have been a hard transition.
He had a lot of work. He walked across the lot and did another job. He was a professional actor. He was glad to be respected. And you know what? He was glad to be in like regular gigs. He probably had been a pretty decent stage actor in England. And they're just like, how'd you like to go to Hollywood where people need butlers? And he was like, I'd like money. I mean, Patrick Stewart should have had his career. Could you imagine if we could have put him as the captain of the Enterprise and Pat Stu? Because like, I believe that guy passed away, so he wouldn't be embarrassing us. Not that I wish it on him. It's just like, you know, since he's already gone, right? I mean, what can he say?
I'm not sure if he actually is gone or not.
He was also
it must
captain
have been just
USS...
in the last year or so.
Wait, was Moriarty Moriarty was was Moriarty just an American captain who acted British? Let's take a look at this one. Hunt for Red October comes up a lot. One day, saving. Do you believe that on like holiday occasions, Saving Star Trek should do non-Star Trek stuff for fun?
Yeah, that might work.
Stretch out the old belief system there. And Sean, thank you. Thumbs up. Everybody, more thumbs up on Sean's super chat. It's fantastic. It's absolutely an amazing super chat from my friend of several years now. Gosh, I've gotten to know all of you I've been on the scene a long time. I've been around. And the one thing I have not been able to do is shake this one freaking idiot who will not leave me alone. It's funny how when they're fired up doing something else, I just smooth sailing for Admiral Teague, huh?
Yeah. And according to IMDb, Daniel Davis is still alive.
Wow. Hey, good for him. But he hasn't said anything woke.
And he's from Arkansas, not England. It's a damn good English accent for Arkansas.
You know what? Peter Dinklage is freaking from New Jersey. Interesting stuff that I'm finding out more and more interesting stuff. Boy, you know, what I'm thinking is for the sake of the channel, you guys are owed because I did get some subscribers who came from the original Star Trek show. The idea was not for me to do anything but provide Star Trek at the time that people had been used to getting it. And we did it all La Cosa Nostra, and we waited months and months and months. So, you know what? It wasn't too soon when we started talking respectfully about our friend. And you know what? If not me, who would it be? The person sending these AI bots? Is that the source of their jealousy?
I can only speculate on that. I have no hard evidence that I may or may not be compounding for a court case.
We may
This
or may
stuff has
not
to
have.
be illegal.
There are screenshots that may or may not be seen, but if they are, they'll be in a court of law. That I know. And they're entertaining screenshots. But I mean, we digest. We came here to talk about Gina Carano, guys, and I think she had a really huge home run with the Star Trek thing, a Star Wars thing. And the thing is, I no longer want her movie. Here's the double-edged lightsaber of it. What happens if we have her movie and it works, and they use that as justification to keep going forward on the other failed experiments? So, like, we get this Gina Carano movie that's kind of mid, an unrelated tale of its own. And then they just have like the Rey story where she's like, I'm Rey, and all that other crap.
Yeah. I think
that's what I think is like we're headed for if she gets a job, because her movie will have profits, and even if it's terrible, people will support that movie.
Yeah, that's one reason I think she won't do anything for Disney, no matter what they offer. And overall, I think
because she doesn't want to save them.
Yeah, she doesn't want to help them in any way. But I don't think Star Wars really has a place left in theatrical runs. Lucas was right when he said that he had his first trilogy, he had his second trilogy, then the story is done. There are avenues for the franchise going forward, but cinema isn't one of them.
No, Sean, of course, is AFK because right now he has to say 5 things he did to help the government run efficiently this week, or he's going to get fired. It's Friday, right? Did you get yours? Captain Gina Carano of the USS Sabre. I would, you know what? That's not so bad. I'd buy that. I would go see a movie with her in Star Trek, by the way, too. Although we know right now that they have not learned their lesson. They have just not. Running into the new Trek people was the weirdest of all. They were willing to engage and talk a little bit, but they were immediately frightened of Admiral Teague.
Yeah, they're kind of squirrely types.
The guy really looked like Kurtzman. And they're like, we know that Star Trek Discovery was no good, but we're going to check out Strange New Worlds. That's not a bad show. And it's like such a party line thing that I tried to keep from wincing because I was ready for it. And I'm like, well, if you like a lot of super 10th wave feminist politics and some crazy communism, that's the fucking show for you.
Unfortunately, these people are blue hair, they, thems. So
they're radicals. They are radical. You know what? They are activists, Germ. They are activists. That's what they are. When I find a thread that's a mashup of the worst behavior of the fans the worst behavior of the cast of Star Trek Discovery, and in there I see Dev Mag and like 3 other fucking people I know getting just absolutely skewered by the doctor from that show, Dr. Latino, not so straight guy, Nelson Cruz. Is that his name? Wilson Cruz?
Dr. Tito Jackson, for all I know.
Yeah. The Steinmetz's lover. I agree with our friend Disparu, who we all pledge to ourselves to his Star Trek teachings. Disparu, I think, was right on the money with some of his prognostications. And if you haven't followed Disparu 2 on on X. You should, because he does a lot of YouTubing. He covers it all, but he alone really does a lot of Star Trek and Paramount video essays. So while you have had a few things done with classic Star Trek, I have not yet tried to do a new Star Trek video essay. And that's when it gets really dangerous. That's when it gets really dangerous for us. But that one is an avoidable danger because I can just go 4-second clips and be really cautious, because that's below my my public use video. You haven't watched the show yet. Oh, Strange New Worlds is a show that we will be covering. I don't know if Jeremy will be here or not, but late night on Fridays, we're going to watch the previous week's Strange New Woke. And we'll watch Captain Puke. And we will tell you whether the show's any good. We're going to do it at midnight Eastern time, maybe a little later. And you know what? We will review the show for you just the same way we review every episode of live action so-called Star Trek since we've had this panel together. We only had Section 31, but man, that movie was so bad that I was glad I had my my fellow reviewers with me to watch it. Boy, was that terrible. And when I saw the new Trek fans, I told them, well, you know, did you like Section 31? They're like, oh, no, that was bad. That was bad. I'm like, oh, well, this is going to be more of the same. This is the same people.
Yeah, it's unfortunate they can't clean up their act.
They look surprised that it was the same people when 2 of the 3 things had been sold as bad, too. Like, they had bought the excuses that Strange New Worlds was okay. And one of the things that I really liked that Disparu said was that, and he talked to me a little bit on this one about it, was that he thought it was the most damaging to the Star Trek brand. And I have to agree. Every time there was an episode, Star Trek Discovery had people like, it was LOL damage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is core damage to the principles and lore of what makes Star Trek, and turning it hostile to things that are more real.
Yeah, you can get away with all the others since they didn't have actual characters in it. But once you bring Spock and Pike and everybody in there, it's just every day is a baseball bat to sanity and to canon. And
I'll explain exactly how they do it in a moment. Are you still tracking the Chambers, Coils, and missions of the Pack Lads?
Yeah, still on target.
Okay, let me know as soon as they go to warp. Anyway, this is the problem with the show we're talking about, Strange New Worlds. Is this what happens in every episode? Is we have Pike show up, and you know what? We'll keep an eye on. Can you see West's tile? If I put him below, I forget. I'm going to put him downstairs. Look for any subspaces from him saying that he hath returneth to us as I become larger. What happens in every episode of Strange New Worlds is like Pike will get his orders from Black Admiral Man April, who is white in the cartoon, as you and I watched. So he's been gender swapped. And Black Admiral Man tells Puke, and he lets him know his mission. He expresses his mission to him. Puke looks at him confused. While he's looking at him confused, the women on the bridge look at the view screen and then exchange knowing looks. You get what I'm saying? Then Pike turns around and looks at, believe it or not, looks at Spock. And Spock's clueless, looking back at Pike. Clueless looking at Pike. And Spock looks back, and Pike looks over, and then like he absorbs as best he can for a man the orders from Black Admiral Man, who's like less of a man because he's black, I guess, in the eyes of the people who write this terrible story. You know, just being diminished by the way they present him. Poor people. You know, just diminishing this, claiming that just meat shielding behind diversity, meat shielding behind identity, one crazy thing after another. And it's just absolutely despicable. And what happens is the captain will say, Ortegas, which is their like female, and they make her seem like she must be like a lesbian. She has like a no-hawk, it's like the worst haircut ever, and it looks like she must be the most horrific human being in the world, and that's the way the character is, right? And he'll be like, Ortegas, oh my god, look what we got. It's Tony Stark. What's going on?
The Emperor protects. Figured I'd
Good to
swing
see
by
ya.
for just a little bit. I just got through promoting my video premiere in less than 20 minutes.
What do you have coming out in 20 minutes, Stark of Iron?
Mission 3 of the Steel Legion campaign against the terrors that lie within the deep jungle of the planet of Armageddon.
So not mission 1. Not
No,
mission
mission
2,
1's
not
already
mission
played.
4.
They've
Not
played.
mission 4.
Those have played.
Not mission 4. It would be the third mission, am I right?
Yeah, third mission.
All right. Hey, good to see you. Wes Kagan was here, but he stepped away a while ago. I'm watching, keeping an eye on the private chat. Is he
I don't see him.
okay?
Saw that West was on, and I had a free moment after promoting.
He
the
stepped
premiere.
away for a minute, so I put him downstairs. I put him in the stasis booth. You know what I've been watching? I'm going to do something with Northern English Bastard soon, and I've been watching a show called Red Dwarf. It's Carla's favorite.
I know Red Dwarf.
I'm up to like episode 5.
Oh, it's cold outside, no kind of atmosphere.
Yeah, the song is great. The song
Yeah.
got me right away.
My nipples.
The show makes no sense.
No,
the show makes no
a lot of
sense. Here's the thing. The show makes a lot of sense, but it exists in a really ridiculous world.
Yeah, a world
The-
where everybody was basically died out, and Lister's the only human left.
Right, and his pregnant cat somehow had enough progeny to have a whole race. But the thing is, there's a
For
lot
him
of
to evolve into,
radiation.
like a man cat. Yeah.
It's evolved into Little Richard.
Yes.
It's evolved basically to Little Richard.
Just wait
The
till
key-
you get this to the sapient toaster. You're gonna love that one. You're gonna love the
It's right-
sapient
I get-
toaster.
I've-
You're gonna
I've-
love.
I've
You're
gotten
gonna
the
love
sapient
Rimmer
toaster.
World. You're gonna have all of. We got all these episodes. You're gonna have a good time.
You know what? If I calculate correctly, there's 7 seasons. I only have to watch up to 6, so that means I only have to
Yes,
watch
sir.
30 episodes of this. So that's 15 pleasant hours doing research for this one, and then I have to somehow find a way to sail the high seas to a place called season 2 of Miami Vice. I found it, but it was dubbed into Spanish, and I'm like, "Fuck! If only I had like paid attention, I would have
Sean
understood
Carter's
this."
in a meeting. It seems like.
He went AFK to a meeting. Yes, it's a meeting of the Star Chamber, Tony.
We got Crimlon here. Hello.
We got everybody. DJ Play
Got
Nice.
DJ Play Nice. We got Morty Hepburn. Buddy Hepburn.
Germ is here, but he's dealing with a lawnmower, which I think that might be a
Is
while
he-
ago
is
now.
he the
Have
lawnmower
you returned
man?
to us, Germ?
I think
It's
he's
Admiral. It's good to see you, though, buddy.
Captain Teague. I think he said that on purpose.
He's joking around.
Yep.
You gotta
Yep,
love
I
that
am
guy.
fielding an engagement here in about 17 minutes. It's
yeah.
It's mission 3. For those 40K geeks out there who want to learn anything about 40K, I also dropped a lore video that featured some of my voice acting as well as voice modulation to complement that acting in presenting the war-torn surface of the planet Armageddon. So I've been busy focusing on some uploads as well as doing my series of lives. Life couldn't be happier at the moment.
Cool. You know what? Life's but a dream, as they say in Star Trek V. And we are going to find out that sometimes in life we carry precious cargo, Tony. Precious cargo is the next episode of Star Trek Enterprise. And it involves an episode that I watched with Bird of Prey 5, where we're going to see a very pretty girl who is, I believe, a reality show host. Isn't Pat Lakshmi one of those like eating show hosts?
Mm.
A Bollywood model. She's hot. She's gonna end up on a planet with Florida Man. It's gonna be a hot time in the old set of Threshold.
Be fun in the bun.
You know what? We are tracking some packlets. Their chamber's coil is giving off irregular emissions. And you know what? I think what we're gonna do now is maybe, just maybe, um, gonna check our cloak, make sure that's functioning properly. Yeah, you know what? The cloak is still up. So welcome everybody. Like I said, do me a favor if you just get in here, hit the like and follow buttons for me. And if you could share out off the browser that we're live, that wakes up X a little bit and that wakes up YouTube a little bit. Today's YouTube exclusive. I like to do that once a week for only you YouTubers out there. Listen, between you guys and me, sometimes I think Elon Musk acts a little bit like a freaking weirdo.
By the way, I'll be back to being green on the 21st. It's just the midweeks is always a struggle with my account because YouTube is my only source of.
You're allowed to level down your membership level, Tony. I hereby demote you. You're
Nah,
reduced 2 steps in rank. Go back to your station.
nah. I'm gonna get back into the top tier like I've always done. So don't worry about it.
Well, you know what? I appreciate that. You're a great supporter of the channel, and I try to support you as much as I can too. You know what? We find ourselves out here on the high seas of YouTube. Got to try to make our way by being as amusing as we can and putting on real entertainment. It's pretty important. And okay. I see the link here for your thing. Let me copy that, and hey, copy that, as they say.
Do you know how to refer a chat over in your stream?
You know what? I do know how to do it, and we can't do it now because what has to happen is both you and I have to go into our edit settings, and we have to
I've already activated my permissions. You're good to go.
Let me look. Track the pack lads. Where is that?
They are still moving along. Surprisingly.
That video will be going live here in 13 minutes, which means that I can't stay for too much longer.
Permissions, is it? No, add categories.
No, you go to settings.
Yeah, I'm on settings.
Okay, now here's what you do from there. Let me pull mine up so that I can tell you exactly what buttons to push and where.
Advanced settings, perhaps?
No.
Trans
you go to content, all right. And you're going to go to settings. No, that goes to the channel. What the hell?
Yeah.
Why did it change? Hold on just a second.
Guys, welcome to Inside Baseball. It's fascinating stuff. Gina Carano is going to win hundreds of millions of dollars, we think.
All right. Like, you go to your stream. You go to customization. And hit redirect, add, and put the link there.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
Customization. Where is it?
Just redirect.
I see customization. Redirect. Add.
Mm-hmm.
While you boys are doing that, I'll just say hello to RRTNZ. Welcome to the show.
Hey,
RRTNZ. Pleasure to see you.
No matching.
And then you
results.
just add the video there. You'll go to other video. It'll have a selection of your streams, or it'll go to you just go to the other videos and you just paste the link in there, and it's saved in there. And it's off to the races.
All right. So when this show ends, you'll go to that premiere. That'll be live, and when I'm done here, you'll go there. And hey, we're looking for people to join the channel. I had 25. I had 24.1. I was so angry to see it's just 2.4. It's the 2.41 that made me happy, Tony. That's what made me happy. Hello, buddy. RRTNZ's here. I was just telling Tony, I've been doing my research with Red Dwarf. It's a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun. I'm glad. It's shocking that you didn't hear of it until now.
I knew about it.
Away by it.
I know I've seen 5 or 6 episodes of it, and I was familiar with the overall meta of what goes on and how it works out. Mm-hmm. So what I did was I made sure hey, DJ Play Nice has supported me for 8 months. He's a great guy, and he says, "Rock! I love DJ Play Nice," and I thank him for the vote of confidence. Everybody, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. When I'm making the videos, I'm doing it as best I can because that's what your community deserves. We had a voice in this Yellowstone debate. I think we were the only non tabloid or put together in Korea kind of show that did Yellowstone. I didn't see any other people out there independently doing 1923.
Yeah, that's right. I only saw 3 other channels doing it. 2
Were
of
they
them weren't even American based.
And did one have real people, or was it AI voices? Was it? I saw there's an official Yellowstone channel that's by the people who make it,
Yeah,
and they give you they have exclusive footage, and they don't have to have the 5-second time limit. That's not a real YouTube channel, but they do Yellowstone. So you've got that, and you can't really use that for resources, but you've got that. It'll tell you things, and it'll tell you what they want you to know. But we might be 2 or 3 people tops, if not the only ones that did 1923. We're definitely the only panel show, and I don't know of any other independent video essayist. Other people just had cuts of the show. So I think that in the long run, that's going to benefit me a lot more than having done something while it was good and it was fun for the people doing it. I'm sure Daredevil seems like it must have been kind of a drag, really. I don't think I would have enjoyed doing Daredevil and having to watch it 6 and 8 times.
yeah, I can barely get through it once.
But okay, now compared to that, Daredevil compared to an average episode of 1923. Now, 1923 did not end with a roar. It ended, the Crimlon said, with a thud, and I thought that covered it quite well because it really was just thump. It wasn't a whimper. It had something to it. A thud has some feeling of finality, which was there to a degree, but it wasn't a whimper and it wasn't a roar. And after all the times of comparing the vibe to The Shining, that final thing they had, where they had people at the Overlook Hotel, Spencer meets Alex at what seems to be the Overlook Hotel at the Fish and Game Ball. That is some weird stuff, huh? That was very The Shining, the end there.
And it does make it a little confusing since they're only going to do a 20-year jump.
I heard it's either a 20-year jump, but I don't know. I think that 1944 might be a ruse. I have a funny feeling the next show is 1968. Because doesn't a 45 or 1969, because that's when Spencer will have died. Spencer dies in 1967 or 1968. A 45-year jump from March of 2023. So that's 1968, right?
Yeah. It doesn't make sense to pick up the story in his lifetime.
I wouldn't want to. He said, by the way, Brandon Sklenner, nothing since St. Patrick's Day. OG Red Dwarf fan. It's an awesome series. I've probably done full series watch throughs a dozen times. Guys, if you're a Red Dwarf fan, Hail Trek reviewer. If you're a Red Dwarf fan, give me your vital episode, and I'll try to remember it so that I can get in there with Northern English Bastard and give him your takes too. Because I'm going to try to watch the series through, but I've been asked for my top 5. Let's see, and can never get into Red Dwarf. I tried a few times, never lasted more than 5 minutes. Honestly, slacker humor, hit or miss for me. It is slacker humor. I think that it's fun, more fun for me, because when he calls someone a smeghead, it's funny when I hear it in their accent. Did you not hear them, Remmer? The voices of the Red Dwarf crew in themselves are comedic to me as an American, just like the British voice is like an ingredient here in America we call MSG. They say it brings out the flavor in everything, but it's kind of bad for you the way the British accent has been bad for the plot of Star Wars. George Lucas knew some of this stuff was hard to take and hard to process as dialogue, so he had British people say it so that Americans would buy it, which makes me wonder how anybody could buy a car in England by trusting anyone because you all have English accents. But that's not the point. C3PO has added veracity to what he says because he has the British accent. And it also works with comedy. If you've got a lyrical, funny, British accent, the way the guy who plays Lister has, it's pretty free. That guy, when he delivers lines, sometimes I can't understand him, but it's just his body language and the way his voice whines and lilts. It's hilarious. It's just hilarious.
Yeah. I don't know. Red Dwarf was always just a little bit too birdish for me.
I could see why anyone would say they didn't like it. Here's the thing: it's really exists in a wild world, and there's still within this wild world, they do have enough decency to do setup and payoff, where they actually do introduce things and have them mean something and be meaningful later in an episode. So, like they set something up, and a couple episodes later, they do something with it. So, I appreciated that there was that much to the humor, that it was well considered. You could say, yeah, they had a couple of whiffs here and there, but the concept of the whole crew except the screw up who was put in the stasis pod for being a pain in the ass gets like zapped with radiation and killed, and he's the only one left alive, except the simulation of his immediate superior, who is an incompetent dick. That in itself is fun enough. Conceptually, not the
Well,
worst.
gentlemen,
idea.
I must get ready to deploy to the front. So,
All right, Tony, you go there and you mod that live debut, and there'll be people heading there after this show is over.
it's mostly gameplay, but there is an overarching story at the very beginning and at the very end.
All right.
That is also helping people get into the world of Warhammer 40,000. Much like Fallout, Warhammer is in my wheelhouse, and I'm trying to provide just some genuine content with it and gaming content on top of it. So it's two birds, one stone.
All right.
All right. And take it easy, guys. Have fun discussing Trek and Red Dwarf and all that good stuff.
It's good to see you, Tony. And like we said, we're set up for an instant here over there. We'll see you later. And let me just, we'll beam you right off. Here you go.
I still prefer a shuttle.
We'll get you a shuttle next time. Get off my bread, you crazy madman, you. And we'll send him back in time with the time transporter. They play around with time travel in this third episode of Red Dwarf. It's kind of funny. They make fun of how like time travel really is kind of ludicrous. By the way, you know what I've been noticing about Mr. Matt? Why does he have 5 fingers? He's like the only mascot of a cartoon nature to have all 5 fingers. The Simpsons have like 4 fingers. Weird
Well,
stuff.
the head was expensive enough, so.
Is that Mr. Matt is just a man with a giant baseball for a head. But you know what? He's been a friend to me in good times and bad. It's good to see the Trek viewer. RTNZ says people love Red Dwarf and respect that, but it's not for everyone. It's not. Look, if you want to say that this is too particular kind of humor for you, I agree. But I'm going to get the London Jets TV shirt, Zero G football shirt, because the London Jets is a real thing that's happening. The New York Jets are moving to London for 4 or 5 home games. Isn't that great, Jerm?
Yeah, that's great mercy they're giving to the people of New York.
How great would it be if they stay there? How great would it be if they become the London Jets forever?
You're not that lucky.
You know what? Here's a Trek question for you. How old is Buck Buckeye right now? Right now. Today.
Buckeye would probably be in elementary school.
Buck Buckeye is 28 years old. He was born October 31st, 1997. Probably the air date of the episode. I smell burnt toast. Yeah. I'm talking toaster. Oh yeah, the toaster from Red Dwarf is kind of alive, and in one episode, it's seeing into the future. Lister has a Liverpool Scouse accent. Okay, is Despereau from Liverpool? Because sometimes he sounds like it, and you can see that's my best Liverpool. He sounds like it. It's a thing. Some decent comedians came from Liverpool, and the Beatles. Yeah, we knew about them. The thing is, if you look at the map of old America, have you ever heard of it? They call it Great Britain, or they call it Minor America. Have you ever heard of it?
I haven't heard of it.
It's got a place in it called London, and also in it is a place called Liverpool. And in Liverpool, if you look at the map of old America, part of old America borders on this like a river runs through it, but it's like an ocean. And old America is separated from Western old America by this thing called the Irish Sea. And then there's another part of old America called Ireland. and like Ireland and Liverpool are really close. Like you could jump. So I think like if you look at the Beatles, Paul McCartney, obviously some British people there. And yeah, hail Mr. House Party 6. Thank you so much for your amazing generosity tonight. We are instituting the fans in the chat. This week starts with RRTNZ will be joining us for our episode of Enterprise, and I can't wait to do that one. And then we're going to do it about
We
once
have
a month.
Subspace for you.
You have a subspace for me, do you? I think I know what it is. Proximity Award. Oh, okay. He has returned to us. Okay. I thought that maybe the Pac-led ship had gone to warp. We're still keeping a careful eye on that situation. Make sure, can you visually acquire them right now, Tactical? Thank you. Sorry, guys. There's things you got to do here when you're on a battle footing. And the idea of this one is to execute this show with a clean analytic so that people can come through later and enjoy it too. We had fantastic success after we cleared away the damage with 120 people and counting watching our show with our friend, with our friend that 70s rock fan, and we had a great time with him. He was fantastic. Brian was great. Wasn't it? That's my new feature. Did you like the "What do you think Grok says of you"? Did you hear that part?
No,
I
didn't catch that.
Instead of writing an intro for him, I asked Grok to tell me about him.
Okay.
And then I asked him as we went along what he thought of what Grok's assessment was. And he kind of certified it as fairly accurate, except it got his name wrong. And I was like, and it says you're Jamie, but you're Brian, right? And he's like, yeah, I don't know. And I'm like, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my guest Sargon. And then like he is so cool about that. Like I called him Sargon a bunch of times. He's a pisser.
That's funny.
Well, that 70s rocker is nothing but fun. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Man, we talked Black Sabbath and Deep Purple for almost the whole stream, West. You'll like that one.
I did catch a big chunk when you were talking about because you delved into little bit of Whitesnake too. You guys talked a little bit about Whitesnake at that point too.
Isn't it funny how very literate we both were on that one? I was holding my own with him.
Oh yeah.
Admiral Teague is a jack of all trades and a master of only some Star Trek. I'm getting there. I didn't realize that Star Trek was like some kind of fucking Mormonism where you had to know everything backwards and forwards. You're some kind of chump. No one told me that. But you know what? Germ, is there any sign of the end of the warp speed engines turning on for the Pac-led ship? I know they have some Ferengi acquired technology.
No, they seem to be going on slow and steady.
So they're still the same erratic course and the same garbled communications to nowhere for no reason.
Pretty much, I can't understand the thing they're saying.
You know what? We may just warp over there and do the Admiral Fatigue maneuver. It's better than the Picard maneuver. We attack from both points and then fly to a third. We make the ship momentarily appear to be in 3 places and we fire from all of them. What do you think of that one?
An interesting concept.
Attack pattern Teague Delta. The fatigue pattern. I used to love smarter, more analytical Captain Picard, but he turned out to be a real dud and a bummer. Like when Sir Pat Stewart like failed at being like that serious of an actor. It's like, yeah, he did good, but his only other like real success was in Marvel, and he wasn't comfortable with the idea that he'd put in like solid acting performances in Marvel movies. Like he had to like drag everything, and his Star Trek movies too, drag them all in this certain direction, try to be an action star in one, try to be a thespian in the other. One would argue that he should have just tried to be a thespian in both, because like he didn't try that hard to do a good job as the Captain Picard we knew and remembered. They like kind of try to re-roll Captain Picard every movie, and only in the second movie is there more evidence of the TV show Picard. What do you guys think?
when you mentioned his other stuff, I didn't first think Marvel. The first thing I thought of was Excalibur.
That is his best other thing. That is by far his best other thing.
Yeah, he was good in that. I thought he was good in it anyway. My opinion.
He was good in Dune. I think I was just like, when
Oh
I
yeah,
saw him, I was like, Dune guy.
that's right. That's right. I
I was
forgot.
like,
I forgot he was in
Dune
June.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was like, and guys, tweet out that Admiral's live. This way, at least if people aren't here now, they'll come through later. We'll make it up. We had a lot of views stolen last night, hundreds of watch hours stolen by brigands this month. We're getting them back. Double digits out there. I'm so pleased on this YouTube only Thursday where we bring it to you live. Ugh. You know what? Maybe people get used to seeing me around now. Jeremy, are you like typically available at this time?
Well, yeah, Fridays I'm usually free in the morning time.
It's strange how we have no problems at this time. It's
Yeah,
almost
very
like the
convenient.
attack computer that usually engages us on Amini R7, and I'm sorry, on Vendracar is doing something else.
Ah. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
What a shit! What a shock! And I wouldn't be surprised if they're only acquiring us now, if at all.
Could be.
You know what? I'll never tell if this is an experiment. I'll never say. But I think we've more than proven our point because right now I think that we surprised enough people. And guys, Gina Carano seems to have come out on top. If you're just getting here, we recap what happens. Disney has about 20 days to make good on all this stuff that it owes her. And one of the things that it owes the court is an accounting of everything. We still live in America, which means, you know what? I like hockey, but I wasn't going to get into talking about it with him because I don't know whether I like the New Jersey Devils or the Islanders. Because the Islanders kind of are near my, like they're close to like where I like they're playing on the edge of Queens now.
Yeah, yeah.
Their stadium's technically in Queens, so I feel
Well,
like they're my team now.
yeah. If I had to choose between the two, I mean, I'm a Flyer fan, so that's not a choice. But if I was choosing between those other two,
They're
at
cooler than
least in
the
the old days,
Rangers.
it would have been the Islanders straight up because the Devils were so annoying with that trap. I don't know if I think they abandoned that thing, but they used to play that trap game,
League
and it was just so
legislated
boring.
it away. The league
Yeah.
legislated it away. You know what? The clutch and grab, punch and mess around hockey of 1994 and before was the best hockey. It ends in 1995 and beyond is kind of boring hockey. And the league has been in trouble since that time. They celebrated their flying high and their highest level of success in 1994 when the Rangers win. They're flying high. So what do? They lock people out the next year. Freaking
Yeah,
idiots.
you know that was a rough year for Flyer fans. We no longer could cheer when the Rangers came to town. We couldn't cheer 1940.
Everybody cheered that. I think the Islander fans made it up. I like the Devils because of this. One, their colors are great. Two, their name is great. And three, what team would Ozzy Osbourne say was his favorite if confronted out of nowhere?
Devils.
Yeah, so there you go. You have to like the Devils based on that. Jerm, out of the three teams, which do you find the best? I know that you are a fan of the Crack. I know that that's what they're called, right? You are the Seattle Crack.
Might as well be.
Yeah. So I have heard they're smokable. What do you think of our three regional hockey teams here that I have in New York to choose from? And we don't include the Buffalo steak sandwiches. What do you think has the best name, at least?
Best name, probably the Devils.
Yeah, I agree. My Admiral says RRTNZ, who will be on the bridge with me on Saturday night at 9:30 here. Despite Pat Stew's up and down as Picard, his RSC and BBC work is top drawer. I believe it. In my opinion, his best other thing is I, Claudius. Yeah. He's terrible as Patrick Stewart. That's my least favorite role of Patrick Stewart. I like him in character better. What's funny is him trying to act in Picard season 1, where he like takes an accent from some better role, like Merchant of Venice, and he's in one scene he goes, "I got in trouble on the Hollow Neck. I was on the Hollow Net, and they got me with a gotcha question. The crooked media called me a loser," and he's just like all like bereft of himself, and they're like, "It didn't go well for you in that HoloNet interview," and he's like, "Oh, I'm not an actor." And then in the next scene, he's like, "Hello, it's just a bowl," like blurting out like French and Spanish, like Spanglish garbage with some accent retest from a better, more respectable role. It's like, "I won a fucking Academy Award. I won a Tony for as Shakespeare. I won a Tony playing Scrooge on Broadway with this accent." It was just like, somebody needs to rein this guy in. Did he read his own script? Sorry about the technical difficulties. I had them too. Release the crackheads. Wouldn't that be a great SNL skit, like the Seattle crackheads? And it's just like you see like a normal hockey team on the ice, and all of a sudden all these guys come out, and like one of them's just like, "Hold on a minute," like tucks his stick under his arms, like blazing away.
They would probably do better than the actual team.
I know some people who would have season tickets to that. No names. Greetings, Lombardi 1969. It's good to see you. I think I said hello already. But we'll hopefully be seeing Lombardi 2026 in the Big Apple when the Jets will win the Super Bowl in London. London! Where's the Super Bowl this year?
I don't know.
That's a good question.
Where's this year's next year's Super Bowl? Somebody check that one. We got to find out. We got to know now. By the way, I'm predicting for the World Series. I'm going to go out on a limb here. Wes, Cagle, are you ready for my prediction?
Sure.
New York Mets, New York Yankees in 7. It's going to be close. It's going to take a lot for the Yankees to pull it out and beat the Mets. Yeah, yep. And I think the Phillies may go as many as they may win 2 games when they come up against the Mets. I'm going to assume they advance.
Admiral, it does look like those Pac-Leds are preparing to go to warp.
Guys, we've had a great show. We love you. And we're not going to be able to stick around any longer. We're not going to get bots formed. I'll be back on Saturday night at 9:30. We love you all. See you later. Bye.
Later.